departure statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his visit to Kazan will further reinforce the special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia. Of course, we know that several bilateral, in fact, are expected and lined up in the day. Prime Minister Modi is expected to meet President Putin. Then he's also expected to meet with Iran's Prime Minister. So we will keep you lined up with what all is happening in Kazan. For now, let's move on and tell you a little bit more about the BRICS grouping. So we know that last time in Johannesburg, the BRICS was expanded from 5 to 9 members, and the new members included at that summit were Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the United Arab Emirates. So Russia wants the BRICS summit to showcase to the West that Moscow is not isolated. Now, for the European Union's perspective on the BRICS summit, we are joined by our DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Hi, Chiponda. So how is the EU looking at the BRICS summit hosted by Russia?
Thanks for having me. Well, there is concern in the EU because the BRICS countries and the bloc have divergent approaches when it comes to the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. And that has meant differences on UN resolutions and challenges getting sanctions imposed successfully. For instance, despite the fact that Russia is the world's most sanctioned country, it has still managed to raise money for its war chest. Now that's because Western countries have been unable to get many other countries on board when it comes to isolating Russia. And the BRICS group is growing. At the beginning of this year, it admitted 4 new members: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. And according to some estimates, the BRICS Plus now accounts for more than a third of global GDP. That is more than double the EU's.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin is hosting this year's summit. Is he trying to send a signal to the West? What can we expect from the summit?
Obviously, for him, this summit is really about showing the world that his country isn't isolated. The Kremlin has had to turn to other partners to make up for what it has lost amid Western sanctions. Trade with the BRICS group has been increasing. India accounted for more than a third of Russian crude oil exports last year. And last July, it surpassed China to become Russia's top oil buyer. That's because Russia has had to seek new buyers for its energy exports. And it has been selling crude at a discount because of the G7 oil price cap. Meanwhile, refined oil imports from India to the EU grew to record levels last year. That means that European consumers have most likely been buying Russian oil products via India, despite the sanctions, and they may not be purchasing them at a discount.
Thank you, Chipola, joining there.